Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just in Stormworks. I've put out that little video there of this ship here, the hull that I designed. I made a couple of versions of it, so it's going to be one for containers and one for oil. It's just a smaller, it's just a smaller ship, right? Like the ones I was building were, they were twice this size, right? A lot of parts, a lot of lag. So yeah, that's basically that. Has a standard engine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cylinders, generators, blah blah blah. The inside's not quite done. I'm still kind of working around all that stuff. Yeah, so what I was up to is, I remember last time I checked on the radar. I did a video where I checked on the radar and the tables were broken. The tables didn't work. So they must have done an update where tables work again. By tables, what do I mean by tables? Okay. We're going to build this. I was working on a fish finder, and we're going to build the fish finder. So that's what we're going to do in this video. It's going to be really quickly. Let me show you how it all works. So, when you turn the fish finder on, it will save the location of the fish, and then it will print that location on the screen. And then when it detects another fish, it'll print that location. And so on and so forth, and it won't clear the screen. So let me just show you. So we turn on the fish finder, right? So now this is all based on the center of the screen, and these are all the fish that are around us, right? Then if you want to clear it, clear the table, and now it's detecting. It'll detect fish up to 100 meters from the fish the fish thing. So with all that information in mind, I want to go through the fish finder again because it's different than the radar. It's different than the radar because we have a scale. So if we look up the fish finder, all right, and let's see. Let's put I guess it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. We'll put this one at the back. It's probably better that it's at the back than the front. Okay, so we'll do that. It needs power, so you need electricity to your fish finder. Okay. The other thing that we need is, you need a blank microcontroller. That's at least this one's 3x3, and then we're gonna need a monitor. All right, and a button. We're gonna need 2 buttons. One button turns on the fish finder and the monitor, and one button clears the folder. So this button here turns on the monitor, all right, and it's going to turn on our fish finder. And this is going to be so I just like fish finder, right? Okay, and then this one here is going to be clear screen. Basically, that's what it is. All right. So then we go into our blank microcontroller, and we're going to need 3 things. We need composite, our clear, and then, I don't know what the other one was. video out. All right, so this is going to be composite in. This is going to be our clear, right? CLR, clear screen, fish finder, and then this one here is going to be video out. Output. That's it, right? So we go in here, fish finder, clear screen. All right, we need a Lua block, and then we need a composite right on off. And then we're gonna take that here, and we're gonna set this to channel 2. All right, now why? From the fish finder, there's only one on-off signal, and that is when it detects a fish. So it's only one channel. That's why we can safely add a second channel this way. Connect it to the Lua script. Connect your video out, all right? Then you want to say update. Now what we're going to do is we're going to connect everything. Well, I'm upside down. I'm upside down. All right. So we take our clear screen button, and we add our clear screen, all right? We take our composite from our fish finder, we add that, and then we take our video and we send it out to the monitor. All right. So the next thing we need to do is we need to go into the Lua block, and we need to delete this. probably delete that, and that, and that, and then just gonna delete all this. All right, perfect. So we have two sections here, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a table, and we're gonna call this table fishies. All right, and then it's gonna say equal, and not those brackets. We need these brackets, okay? Then we need to say fish equals input dot get bool channel 1, and then we want to say clear screen equals input dot get bool. Boolean is on off, true or false. Okay, then what we also need is we need our distance. And I think there's one more value. Let's check to see. I think there's one more value. So we need two things from the fish finder. So channel 1 tells us if we've detected the fish. Value channel 1, so number channel 1, gives us our angle. And number 2 gives us our distance, our horizontal distance. So that's what we need, channel 1 and channel 2. Channel 2 is our distance. We're over here. All right, so we go into here, go into our Lua script. Distance and angle. There we go. Okay, equals input dot get bool no number. All right, channel 1 input dot get number channel 2. All right. Now what we need to do is convert this. All right, so we need, I say radar, but we can say spinning equals. Let me just take a look here. I'm gonna do a quick copy and paste, but all right, how did that work again? All right, so we need this. We need to convert the angle. Oh, the angle I have here is number 1 and distance is number 2. Yeah, and it's backwards in the other one. Okay, let's make sure we do that. So this is what we need here. Let's start with this. Okay, I know you're gonna be like, oh man, you're copy pasting. No, we'll go over it. I promise we'll go over it. All right. Okay, so we can do that, and then here instead of this, okay, so I have these backwards. This should be number 1 and this should be number 2, and let's just copy that and paste it there. Yeah, that's right. Let me double check on the angle and the distance, the channels there. Let me double check. Channel 1 is the angle, channel 2 is the horizontal distance, channel 3 is the depth. I'm not going to worry about depth just yet. We'll get into that. Okay, so what do we have here? In order to convert the angle, we have to convert it to degrees. So in order to do that, we need to take the angle, we need to multiply it by 360, and then we need to divide it by math.pi divided by 180. Okay, that's how we do that. All right. So that's going to give us our two values. We need our x1 and our y1. Now, why do we need our x1 and our y1? Well, when we go to draw, all right, when we go to draw, I guess I could just keep, I should have just kept that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is what was already there. So when we go to draw the circle, right, we're going to need our, the center of the screen, which is going to be, oh, here, can I, no. And this is going to be divided by, yeah, I think it should be divided by 2. That should give us the center of the screen. And then I would just say 1, right? It'll set the color. All right, let's just test that for a second. So we should have a circle on the screen, and the circle should be in the center of the screen. All right, let's just speed this up a little bit here. All right, so when we turn it on, oh, and it's backwards. The monitor is backwards. So I'll have to reverse the monitor. Hold on a second here. Oh, is that? No, switch out. All right, bear with me for just a moment. Get the video. That's all we need. Oh, okay, so it gave me an error. W. Oh, this here. W and H. All right, so we can just add that as a variable. W equals 96. Whoops. 96. And H equals, that's just the pixels of the screen, right? So 96 by 96. So here for X1, and so this is the center of the screen, okay? So what we're doing is we're saying from the center of the screen, we're taking the distance, okay, which is a maximum of 100 meters, and we're dividing it by 2. So that gives us that's almost accurate for what we want. And then we need to sine and cosine, which tells us where in the circle to print, right, where in the radius is the object. We need an x value and a y value, a linear and a height, blah blah blah, circles. Yeah. All right. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to work on the table, because we made a table. So what we need to do is, what the table does is it will save the values, and then it will allow us to print those values. So if we just use the on-off signal from the fish finder, okay, every time it detects a single fish, it'll appear on the screen. But then when it detects another fish, it'll delete what it just printed, and it'll print the new object. So if you're in an area where there's a lot of fish, you're only ever going to see one fish on the screen, and it's going to be jumping around all over the place. So to stop that, what we want to do is we want to create what's called a table. And that allows us to save the x and the y values of the object, so we can read it and print it. Not the first value, the second value, however many values we want until we clear it, right? Now, obviously, it's going to slow down the game a little bit if it gets too big. But that's sort of the idea here. And I like the fact that we have 8,000 lines of code. So there's going to be a few videos coming up here. We'll go over radar again and that, just to add, because I'm excited now. I can do a lot more with the radar stuff. This is cool. So this is what we have. So now we need to work on the table. So what we need to do is we need to say, I think it's if fish, then, and we're going to check this. All right, if fish, then, we want to say fishies. Like this, and we want to say x1 equals y1. Now let me confirm that. I'll update this. Let me confirm that by looking at the one I already did. Yeah, if target, then targets. That's it. And then we also need to clear it. We need to then clear, we need to be able to, otherwise it's going to continuously print over and over and over again, right? It's going to keep printing and keep printing and keep printing, and you're going to have a mess on your hands. So we want to be able to clear that. So to do that, we say if clear SCRN, if clear screen, then we need to say for I in pairs, targets, this is, in this case it'll be fishies, do, okay, and then we need to say fishies, the table equals nothing, right? Clear the whole table. So basically it's looking for this table wherever it exists, and then it'll find it and it'll say, okay, perfect, here we go, right? And I think that's all we need for here. So now it should detect the fish. Now, as far as the drawing, we need to set the on draw part up a little different. We need a little bit of code here because we need to be able to search through the folder to grab the value. So we need this little bit here, and we'll go over this right now. The good thing about a video is that you can always pause it, take a look at the code, but you'll see it'll work. Should work the first time. All right, so we don't actually need that. Okay, so we say for I, comma, V in pairs, and this is going to be the folder, fishies, do, and then what you're going to do is we're going to set the screen color to red. This can be anything, and then we're going to draw a circle, right? The instance, which is x1, value y1, and we can even make this 0.5. If you're concerned that it's too big, and now we need another end in there, I think. There we go. All right, let's test it out. See if it's going to work the first time. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I still have a little bit of a cough here from that cold. All right, fish finder is on. What is going on here? Oh, no, video, electricity, no on signal. Yes, it is the first day of spring, I noticed. It's the first day of spring today. So that's a good sign. All right, turn the fish finder on and dist. All right, it's telling me something's wrong with the distance here. Got to go the distance. So what did I do wrong? I must have spelled something wrong. Distance and dist. A-N-C-E. All right, that's what we want to do. I'll just leave it there for a second. Because the distance, I have it written here like this. So yeah, I want to make sure. Spelling. Spelling. That's why I'm a construction worker. I don't have to spell. I cut things. And force them together with a hammer. It's perfect. All right, so now what's going on? Bad argument number 1, cosine. Number expected got nil. All right. My cosine function. What's the number it was expecting? Let's see. Oh, radar A. So instead of radar A, this needs to be spinning. Actually. See, because when you do radar is the same. Sine and cosine, it's all the same. It's all relative, right? It's all relative. There you go. This is the angle. So we take the angle and we convert it to degrees. And then what we do is we say, then we take the x and the y, and then somehow using math, incredibly, we're able to figure out where it is inside the circle. Yeah, it's amazing. Now let me, well, it says no errors detected. If it gives me a blue screen, I'll be sad faced. Okay, I don't think it will. I think this is going to be the one. Going back to that whole brute force thing. I just got to brute force it together. All right, let's see. So that should be that. Yeah, look at that. Oh, nice. So these are all the fish that are around us. And it's basically going to be in like a circle. Nice. So that's it. And then when we press a clear screen, it clears it. And then now it's detecting the fish again. Nice. And see, it shouldn't detect the same fish twice because we are using the table. Right? If we weren't using the table, then it could, in theory, detect the same object over and over and over again. So when I do the radar, now that the tables are working and now that we have 8,000 lines of code instead of 4,000 lines of code, I'm going to do another radar video for everybody. And we're going to do it like this with the tables because we'll now be able to track 8 individual targets. Finally, I might be able to give us a radar that is pretty sick, actually. So stay tuned for that. All right, so we're looking at that. That's Fish Finder turned on. Make sure you clear the folder, right? You just have to keep that on and it won't do anything. Bada bing, bada boom, that's it. So from here, basically, I think as I did with the last one, really, now it is about how you want to design the screen. How do you want the Fish Finder to look, right? So look for some Lua color codes. And then what I would recommend is, because we want to be able to know the depth of the fish, so we know where to set our nets, right? So that would kind of be the next part here. So we get the depth, right? So we could say depth equals input get number. That'll be number 3, right? So let's see. What we could then do is similar to what I did on the last one, is at the bottom of the screen I made a box, and inside that box, when a fish is detected on the screen, it would just show its depth. And then when it would just show its depth. And you can get it to scroll. You can say like y minus 1 or x minus 1, and you can get it to scroll the text. I'll look through it to see how I did that. But basically, that's pretty much where you're at now. Is so we've got it. Think of it like this. Here, I'll draw the circle on the screen just for visuals here. Let's see. So here we're drawing a circle. We'll take, let's see, screen. Draw circle. All right, and then like this, and then we need like an X and a Y. And I think it's like width. We could just take this here, honestly. And then it's gonna be, the radius is gonna be 48. And then for color, we could just say like, this is red. I don't know, I think this might be green. I'm not sure. Let's try that. And then it'll just give you kind of like a visual, should be like a visual sort of, here's the fish finder. I don't think I had a circle. I don't know if I said filled or empty, but yeah, there we go. Okay. So purple. So this is our, in theory, our detectable distance, right? So this is our fish finder. So keep in mind that if you want to have a depth, what I'd like to do is I'd usually put a box on the bottom here, right, and just have it scroll to the side, sort of deal. So anyway, so that means that you're going to be able to, you have to make this a bit smaller. So just keep that in mind. Instead of being 48, maybe you're 40 inches, you know what I mean, 40 or something like that. And that means that you're going to change the center, because you always want to be in the center of the circle, right? That center might change. So I know here we're sort of out, but that's the scale. That's just the scale of the fish finder. So yeah, that's gonna do it. That's pretty much a basic fish finder now. And like I say, or for the depth, what you could even do is let's do this. You could print that on the screen. Here, let me turn up a little. There's a little bit of Stormworks music. Let me turn it up. Just do something like that, just so I don't have to start the music again. I'm almost done here. So we could do this. Yeah, we could say on draw. Where is it? Where? Draw text. Yeah, here we go. Just like that, right? And then We can say down here, draw text, and we could say like the X is maybe like, I don't know, 10 by 10, and then this will be depth. Now it should update. I don't actually know if it'll update. Yeah, every time it gets a depth value, it'll update. That's right. So that might be a little confusing, but you could, these are just other things you can do. You can put it into a table if you really wanted to. Right, there we go. There's the depth. So now that's an absolute number. If we don't want to print the absolute number, we need I'm gonna have to take a look here. We need another little bit of code, which we get from here. This one. This is the radar where I'm going to be changing around here. It's not that one. Oh, this one here. This. I'm sure a minute is going to make up a lot of difference. Okay, so where we have depth, all right, we need to change that bit of code to this. I wasn't going to string.format, right? And then this number here is how many decimal points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want. There you go. All right. I do that, and then it'll just give me the whole number. That's basically that. That way you don't have that really super long number. All right, let's try it out. Let's spawn it in. There we go. Perfect. So you see, so now you have a solid number. Now that depth is I wonder if that's because they're above the interesting. From the fish finder. So some of them are on the surface, some of them are at the fish finder, and some of them are below the fish finder. That's basically that, but that's pretty cool. So that sort of gives you an average, a range here, right? So if we set our nets out, we would want to set them basically right in the water, and that would be sufficient to catch most of the fish that are on the screen. So then we can clear it again. It's still giving us that value because the fish finder is still detecting the fish, and it's going to update. So that's what I mean. So you can create a folder for that, whatever, do the alignment. It looks like 10 by 10 is not good enough. Maybe if we did 8 by 8 or 7 by 7, and then you can surround it you can make a box around it with color. I highly recommend you just go through it and play around with it. It's the weekend, spring break's coming up, So make it however you want, but the code that you just saw there, that is all there is to it. That is the basics to the fish finder. I can say with confidence now this is the second one. And now that the tables work, look out. We're going to be doing some really cool Lua videos coming up here for Stormworks, I think. For the autopilot, beats waypoint selection. There's going to be some real good ones, some easy ones, all right? So thank you so much for watching. That's going to do it for today's video. Easy peasy fish finder. And I will see you all in the next one.